This video is to support you on your organizational capacity assessment that you'll be working on in week 2. You're going to be answering 5 questions um, in this organizational capacity assessment. This assessment is 15% of your grade, and so if you take a look at the rubric and the assignment, let me know if you have questions. I'm always here to answer them. I am going to be posting a sample organizational capacity assessment to support you, so you get a sense, especially around the formatting of the paper. It should be written in a APA format, double space, full sentences, not as an outline, and so I hope that is helpful to you. As you choose your organization, and again, you can stick to the same organization that you've been using for week 1 and for your unmet needs post in week 2, but you can also choose a different organization. So just let me know if you want to switch. But essentially, you are going to start with describing the organization and what they do. So, for example, the sample that I'll be posting for you is an organization that is a facility for sick children. And so their mission is to improve the health status of all children that seek services there by providing quality health care and pediatric services and advocating for policy change for youth. And so that vision is to be, for that organization to be the first choice for a child who needs health care. It's a hospital. And so the next part of the paper talks about the values of that hospital, treating everyone with compassion and collaborating with families in a child's treatment, innovation to make the hospital better. So think about that. The values and the mission is how you'll start this paper. And then you want to talk about the goals and objectives of that organization. What are they seeking to do? As you describe the organization, you'll think about whether they are a private, nonprofit organization. Are they considered a faith-based establishment? I'd like you to take a look at any documents that you can find. And again, if you're sticking with the same organization, you may have already reviewed strategic plans and brochures, but identify if the organization has a strategic plan and what they're seeking to do. This is where you might be able to find some statistics about their growth, what their budget is or their targeted budget, and how much they plan to invest or spend in different aspects of the organization. It's always great to be able to use citations and cite things from the actual report or website, or if you're able to interview members of the organization or leadership, then please also cite any personal communication that you've been able to have. The next section, you're going to focus on existing structure of the organization and the services they provide. And so, for example, you might be reporting out on how many clients they serve in a year or each month. And again, this information will be in reports and on their website, but really giving a sense of scale and who their client population is. And that range of what they do. Some organizations are incredibly dynamic. They may serve a number of different clients on a range of programs from TANF to SNAP, food insecurity, healthcare, internet programs, and so it may be an organization that really tries to meet a number of needs for families and individuals. You also want to reflect on the board and the leadership of the organization. Do they have a president and a CEO? How large is the board? How often do they do strategic planning? Things like that. The next section is going to be the organization's relationship to the environment. So as you think about other organizations that provide similar clients, or do they partner with other agencies? Where are they located? Kind of thinking about the environment in which that organization operates and exists. Do you see any similarities between clients and staff? Is there a mix of races and age and gender? Who is that organization employing? So that's another way of thinking about the environment of the organization. If you are working within that organization as well, it might be really interesting to have you reflect on what are you managing or overseeing, and how does that relate to um, how that organization partners with other agencies. So, for example, possibly you are responsible for making referrals. Um, who are the partner organizations that you're working with, or what are you aware of as a member of that organization? And then the next section you'll focus on is analysis of how that organization functions and adapts. Speaking to a supervisor might be really helpful if you're able to really understand where funding comes from, donations come from the organization. Um, you know, for the sample paper that you'll be reading, the hospital received $12 million in donations from a capital campaign. And so that's an incredible way to raise money. They have special events, they do online donations, they receive checks in the mail, they, do a number of different activities in order to raise money. There might be some history around the organization from where they started to where they are now. You can reflect on that in this paper as well, what the strengths of the organization are, um, and then also the weaknesses or the challenges facing that organization. So in the healthcare setting, there's a number of challenges maybe with healthcare legislation or a Medicaid expansion, um, you know, insurance policies, things like that. So starting to think more macro level and holistically about the impacts of that organization. You can include, it's really fantastic if you're able to identify an organizational chart or something that can help, that you can add to your paper to demonstrate, what that organization looks like, how it's organized, board of trustees, leadership, how much staff is there, and that structure is incredibly helpful. And then please remember to include in text citations as well as references at the end of the paper. They should be in APA format. If you don't have an APA reference book, there are plenty of examples online. Please utilize those. And if you have questions about in-text citations or APA format, please don't hesitate to ask. I really look forward to reading your organizational capacity assessments. And again, if you have questions about any aspect of the paper, there's no question that is too big or too small. Happy to answer it so that you feel supported and empowered to assess an organization and write about it. Looking forward to reading your papers.